You're listening to a voracious self-ungreening radio. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to this podcast. Today's episode is inspired by travel. My trip to the airport begins approximately 1 week before the aircraft's departure. In order to get on the airplane, I start prepping myself for the airport experience well in advance. I talk through the steps that I need to conquer in order to reach the ultimate goal, fastening the seatbelt on the airplane. I ask myself pointed, specific questions. What is needed for the check-in kiosk? My name? Confirmation number. But what if I have one but not the other? Could the airport people disqualify me for an improper number but proper ID? Normally, I print the boarding pass in advance, but what if I press the wrong button on the automated kiosk while checking in and duplicate passes print? Will I need to start the process over again? Will they think I'm trying to scam the system and reserve 2 seats? After successfully checking in and passing the kiosk phase, I move to the luggage area. In pieces. It's early in my travels, but to the outside observer, I resemble a fragmented yet determined wanderer. My ID lingers in a pocket which is always separate from my wallet. My phone is in an interior pocket, somewhere. My jacket is draping or dragging or falling off one shoulder, but secured on another. Hopefully, my carry-on bag is in tow, not sure where, just hoping for the best at this point. The excitement I have for the TSA screening process is equivalent to the excitement I would have for a minor surgical procedure or detailed dental work. Now, the more I think about it, I'd rather have dental work or even a minor surgical procedure than endure the TSA process. Medical procedures include drugs. The TSA does not. Quite the opposite, in fact. Don't even think about drugs, because if you do, even the thought of them will in fact raise a red flag. You will be quarantined, searched, detained, and after finding nothing, you will be released into the general population, confused, dazed, and wanting nothing more than to arrive safely, whatever that means. Don't get me wrong, I'm thrilled with the level of security, I am. However, the experience of it is on par with the scalpel and root canal. The TSA welcomes me with a choice of 7 lines. All of the lines are unlabeled and each leads to an agent. I fumble around looking for my ID, which is never where I think it is, and the 7 boarding passes I've accidentally printed. All the while, my brain goes into hyperdrive because the more time I take to find something I used moments ago at the kiosk station and luggage scale, the more I'm convinced the TSA is going to require I go through additional levels of security because I'm clearly trying to hold it together, the sure sign of somebody who is hiding something. My pulse races and my mind melts. After locating the boarding passes and my ID, and after the agent waves an invisible light over my license, I pass through to Station 2. Station 2 involves buckets and undressing. When I think of Station 2, I have flashbacks to an event that left me scarred. A few years ago, after visiting a friend in Los Angeles, I placed my boarding pass in one of the buckets. The lady asked for it when I was in the metal detector. I informed her that it was passing through the X-ray screening machine for carry-on luggage. I placed it there a moment ago. She motioned for the entire operation to stop. "We have a boarding pass," she grunted. The machines stopped. People stopped. She sauntered to the machine, located the pass, and then handed it back to me. "Step back and try it again." Since that experience at Station 2, I've been overly cautious about what I place in the buckets. I get confused about boarding pass or no boarding pass. I usually look at the people who are in front of me, most of whom do not hold anything as they pass through the X-ray machine. I place my shoes, belt, which then makes for a comical pants nearly falling spectacle, bag, coat, boarding passes, ID, phone, wallet, keys, and change into 3 buckets. I'd like to take the opportunity at this moment to thank the nice lady behind me who passed me another bucket when I needed the 3rd. The laptop I had in my over-the-shoulder bag needs its own bucket. That makes 4. Once the length of the conveyor belt is crowded with my items, they pass through the machine, unharmed. It's my turn. There are new machines for people. They are large, daunting tubes. I walk in one side, place my arms above my head. The tube moves. I ask the agent to look for cavities and tumors while he's at it, and then I'm promptly escorted out the other side. I believe the TSA would win a few popularity points with the public if it offered a small printout after the X-ray. I understand it might be hard for a person to hear he or she has something growing on the brain or lung or pancreas in the hustle of the airport, but at least he or she has found out and could seek treatment, all thanks to the TSA. I gather my belongings, accidentally leave behind my belt, and hobble to a bench. After a few moments, and when I realize I'd forgotten my belt, I approach the police officer and his dog and ask if I can reapproach the conveyor belt to retrieve the belt I left behind. "Yeah," he said without any articulation, gesture, or urgency. Finally, I make it to the gate. I wait for my boarding section to be summoned, and when it is, I make my way down the jetway to the airplane. I find my seat, promptly sit down, and await further instructions. Now, since I turned off my phone about 10 minutes from the airport, just as I turn off my cellular phone well in advance of the start of a theatrical production, I have nothing to worry about when the "turn off your phones" speech crackled. I like it when the airplane takes off and lands in one piece, so I also remind each person in my row to turn off each one of his or her electronic devices. I take the tri-fold safety card out of the seat pocket, and I follow along as the flight attendant delivers the speech. Of course, I want her to go over the life vest inflation technique again, but I thought better of it when I realized I could simply use the seat cushion in the event of a water landing. My seatbelt is secure. The tray table is tightly fastened to the seat in front of me. Somehow, we land safely. All of my belongings managed to end up with me, including the stack of boarding passes, now a nuisance in my pocket. I thank the flight attendants and the pilot for the successful trip. It's time to find my way, safely, to the final destination, in the car I've rented. Thank you for listening to Green Ink Radio, an experience for the curious mind. Be sure to check out other great shows hosted by our collective of imperfect gurus at greeninkradio.com. Until next time, be well.